Hello everybody! Today I have a special treat for you, especially if you are a Hobonichi lover out there like I am, and that is what are the best pens for the Hobonichi? Not only for the great Tomoe River paper, but also what are the best colors for the different monthly tabs that they have. So that was my number one burning question when I first ordered my Hobonichi. If you've seen my pen collection video, you know that I have a ton of pens to work with, but shockingly to many of you out there, I do not own every single pen. So take that for what it's worth. I'm not an expert. I'm not an artist. I'm just a girl who loves pens and wanted to find out which ones, in my opinion, were the best. I do have a picture of this on my Instagram if you're curious. To me, let's just take a moment, shall we, and just bask in the rainbow beauty of the pens. These are in order from top to bottom, left to right, according to the Hobonichi months. I did include grays as well because if you have some Hobonichi planners like I do that don't have the colored tabs, what are the best gray pens to use also? So that being said, I will include on actually my Instagram, I'll include a picture of all of the recommendations that I have. If you want to reference that picture, I'll have those all written out, etc. All of these pens that I'm going to recommend to you can all be bought at jetpens.com. They're very easily accessible, and so you're not going to have to search the world over. These aren't going to be random pens that are going to be hard to find. So let me move that out of the way and let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to use my cousin, obviously because it's the biggest one, but also because this is the one that I am in all the time. This is my number one go-to. And so what I did is I just took out all of my pens for each month and I did ink tests right on the very first page or as close to it as I could. I knew that a lot of them weren't going to match, but I wanted to also see how a certain pen looked against the color. Now, from what I understand, the Hobonichi colors are grays. They're in the gray family, so it's not just a simple matter of matching orange because they've got the gray undertone. So it was a little bit difficult, but this was a fun little project for me to work on. I've been working on this for a little while now. So let me show you. Unfortunately, I don't have a fancy camera that can do zoom. I'm just going to hold this up. So if you want to see if any of the pens that you own are on there, you can see how they look against it. But you are welcome to choose whatever you want and do your own pen testing. But these are the pens that I have right here with the oranges. And as you can see right here, I included a couple of orange highlighters that I have as well, just to see how those looked. And so here are my recommendations for the month of January with my orange pens. Here's what I had to work with. And actually for January, I thought that the multicolor pens matched the best. So this one right here is a Coleto. They do have two colors, apricot orange and then just regular orange. So I thought the orange matched the best on the Coleto. Let's do the Slicky one. The Slicky has 3 different colors. They tend to be pretty expensive. So with the Slicky, I just picked out a few for my multi-pen, and orange was one of them. They have a golden orange and a burnt orange, but this is just the regular orange that I liked on there. And then the last one is the Uni Style Fit. Again, 2 different colors here. They have a regular orange and a mandarin orange, and you want to go with the mandarin orange for January. If I had to pick out of these 3, I would definitely pick my Coleto, but I have not had any problems writing with any of these. They all do very well. There's no smudging or anything like that going on, but the Coleto would be my favorite one for January. Okay, February. I have a lot of writing in here, so I'll try and cover that up just so you can focus. I don't know if this will focus very well, but let me show you the different browns. Again, this was a little bit hard to match up just because it's not your standard brown here. But I do have 2 that I like, so let me pull those out. As you can see, a lot less pens to work with on this one, but I really did like the Staedtler Van Dyke Brown. They have 3 browns. They have a regular brown, which is lighter, a warm sepia, which is darker, and this Van Dyke Brown is just the one that comes standard in their 10-pack, so I'm sure a lot of you have that already. And then I also like the Friction Brown. Now obviously, since it's an erasable pen, this one's going to be a little bit lighter on the page. The Frictions, for the most part, do well for me, but sometimes they skip a little bit, and obviously, like I mentioned, they're just a little bit lighter just because they're an erasable pen. So because of that, I would choose the Staedtler over the Friction, but I do like both of those. Let me get those out of the way. And then let's go to March, which obviously is going to be purple. Purples are another one of those things you'd think they'd be so easy to match. So I have a lot of purples, way more than I thought I did. This is actually only half of them because October is also purple. So these are the purples that I was working with. So let me hold this up and show you those. So as you can see, a lot of samples here going on. And this one, I have to say, I didn't really come up with a clear winner on this one. Unfortunately, this Right Dudes right here was the best match, but I can't recommend those pens. I have a terrible time with them. They skip and they're inconsistent. Sometimes they're really thick, sometimes they're really thin. They glob on the end. So as far as the color, the Right Dudes one here, which I got a 24 pack at Target, and they're super duper cheap, but that's one of the problems with them. So I really can't recommend that one. So let me tell you what I would recommend. I do like 3 pens for this one. And I liked a Papermate Flare. I also liked the Pilot G2. And last but not least, another Statler. Now these don't even look remotely like the same color of purple, but it's deceiving because they all write about the same. I would say the Papermate Flare probably matches the best, which is this one right here. I don't love flares just because they're such a fat tip. They're 1.1. But as far as the matching is concerned, I would go with the Papermate Flare. The Pilot G2, this is just a regular purple. I believe this is in their 8-pack. It's not going to be in their standard 4-pack, but the 8-pack you can get this one. They also, I've seen, I think it's a 15-pack or something like that at Sam's, one of their large packs. And then the Statler, and this one is in the Tuscan Red, which there's no red in here at all, so they've got some odd names here, but this is the Tuscan Red from their Nature pack, which is one of their specialty 6-packs that they have. So because flares and G2s are not my favorite pens, just because the broader tips here, I would probably recommend, at least for me, I'm going to show you tell you what I would use personally. I would use the Statler Tuscan Red just because of that. But all of these, and obviously, you can make your own decisions about any kind of purple or whatever one that you want. So April is going to be these pinks, but obviously this is not just your normal pink. It's kind of a salmony coral type of pink. So that's how those look. I have a lot of pink highlighters, as you can see. The Mild Liner, which is a highlighter, but you can also, it's dual tip, so you can actually see it's a fatter tip, but you can write with it. That actually is the best match for this one. Now let me pull out my pinks. I have a lot of pinks. What I've noticed about pen companies is they love to give you lots of different kinds of pinks. So here are all the pinks that I had to work with. The 2 that I liked the most was a Pilot Juice, which is this one right here, and this is in a coral pink. And then I also like the Friction again, and I believe they call this one a coral pink as well. So both of those I liked in there. Obviously, like I mentioned, the Friction's just going to be a little bit lighter. So I would prefer my number 1 choice to be the Pilot Juice Coral Pink for April. All right, moving on to May. This is another odd-ish kind of color because it's an olive green, split pea green, something like that. And let me pull out my pens for those. So these are the ones that I was working with. So I did pull out a lot of my lighter greens, as you can see, but that's how those look. So as you can see, some fluorescent greens, some really light greens, but again, the Right Dudes right here, they've got the color down. I just wish their pens were better, but that one definitely is the best match. I can't recommend that one though. And frankly, with this one, I had a really, really difficult time. The majority of these don't even really come close. So the Stabilo Apple Green is the one that I like the best. So that's really the only one I could recommend, both as far as the pen that I like and the color. And for June, that's another green, but this one's a darker green. So these right here are the ones that I was working with. For that one, I liked this one, which is this, well, lid came off, but the Statler. And this is the olive green. And then I also liked the Micron Hunter Green. So again, they don't look like they're the same color, but they both match really well. This one is a toss-up between, well, I love both of these pens, but because the Micron is archival ink, I would probably go with the Micron on this one, but I love both of these pens. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those. Again, a pen that I wouldn't recommend is literally the best match. It's the Sakura Glaze. I do not like these pens at all. As you can see, they glob and they're just not consistent. And they have this really weird, it's almost like a pen that's epoxy. If you know what epoxy is, it has that feel to it. It's actually, you can feel it. I just don't like them, but I know a lot of people do. But it does have a great color. It's just not a pen that I can recommend. Okay, for July, it's kind of this dark turquoisey peacock type of blue. So there's all the different pens that I have that I was working with. And so I will pull those out, which are right here. And let me see if I can find the ones. I really liked the Pilot Juice right here. And this one's in the turquoise green. I also like the Uni, and which you probably can't tell, but the Uni Style Fit Sky Blue is a really good match. I also liked the Friction. Again, it's really surprising. This Friction is light blue is what they call it. So same thing, it doesn't look like they are the same color, but they all match really well. I would probably, with these three, I would definitely recommend the Juice. I love juices. They just are always, I've never had a single problem with them ever. They are just a really nice, bold color. I've just, like I said, never had a problem with them. They just are like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep going on and on and on. They're awesome. Okay, for August, another blue, but this time it is darker blue. So kind of like a navy blue, a blue-black, a nighttime blue, whatever you want to call it there. So there's my different pens that I worked with. And here's how they look. So for August, I chose, let's see if I can pull those out. It's right here. The Stabilo, and this is the night blue. And then the Friction also has a blue-black, which is really nice. I can find where that one went. And then also the Micron. And there we go. Which one is the dark blue? I think this is it. Yep. The Micron, blue-black, and then I don't know why I can't find my Friction. I think here it is. Okay, there we go. It's in the middle. So the Friction, blue-black. These are all great pens. Again, the only problems with the Stabilos, I would say, is they don't have a pen clip, so they're going to fall through your Hobonichi. I'm actually going to go with the Friction on this one. The other issue with the Microns is that they have a really small pen clip. Overall, I love Microns, but I'm going to go with the Friction ball on this one, and then the Micron's going to be a very close second. But again, these are the pens I recommend, so that's just me being very nitpicky on those. Okay, September is a brown. As you can see, hardly any pens that I had here, because this is, you know, who has light brown pens? I don't know, it's just kind of an odd color. I actually only had, I think, 6, is that right? I only had 6 lighter brown pens, and I did find 2 though, which was surprising. I've got the Micron brown, which they have a dark brown, that's not the one you want, and then also the Pilot Juice brown. So both of those, which are right here, I didn't show that. Let me hold that up quickly for you. So there's the different browns on there. So this Micron brown is the one you want, the top one, and then the Pilot Juice, which is right there. Those are the 2 that I would recommend. And then out of those, I would, again, I gotta go with the Pilot Juice. It's just my favorite. I don't know why. There's just a solid, good pen. Okay, here we are at October, which is my second half of my purples. I did include some of the ones from March just to see how they match against the October color. I'm going to try to show you really quick. Let me pull out my pencil board. The difference between the 2. There's really not a lot, honestly. This one's just a little bit darker and doesn't have as much gray, in my opinion, are the differences there. But all my purples, so let me get out my other purples here. here's the other part of my purples. And then for October, I would recommend the Friction. The Friction actually has two different purples. So if you want, March has a Friction, or it could have a Friction color, and that's the purple. For October, though, it's the violet that you want for the Friction color. And there's also one that I have not mentioned yet, which is the Sharpie pen. The Sharpie purple, and there's only one purple, is a fantastic fit. I would definitely recommend that. And then also there's a Coleto purple that is really, really good. Again, there's only one color, so you can't go wrong with the Coleto. But those are the three different purples. Sorry, there's a little hair there. Those are the three different purples that I would recommend for October. If I had to choose between these, only because I love the Coleto, I've never had a problem with it, I'll probably go with the Coleto, and also it has a longer pen clip than the Sharpie. That's one of the things that I have found with the Hobonichi, is that it does require a longer pen clip on your pen. So like the ball slims right here, the Frictions, they're not going to work too well. You're going to have to stick it in your pocket or something. So that's what I would recommend for October. And then November is this nice green. It's more of a hunter green, forest green, something like that. So there's the different ones that I had. Let me pull those out, which are right here. And for November, this one was surprising to me because it was the green metallics that really matched well. So the Pilot Juice green metallic, and then of course there's also a Pilot G2 metallic that's the same. Also, I really liked the Staedtler ballpoint, which is in the green. Really great match. And I think there was one more, the Friction. Friction again. They have a light green. This is just the regular green, but it's a darker green. So all three of these matched really well. I actually am going to go, let me look at these. I probably will go with the metallic one, the Pilot the Pilot Juice metallic on this one, just because I think it matches better, a little bit better than the Friction ball. But both of, all these, like I said, I'm recommending all of these, but I'm just being super picky about the one that I'm actually choosing for myself. And then last but not least, we've got December, which is the reds. I thought this one was going to be very, very difficult because in real life, this does not look like a true red to me. It looks like a really orangey brownish type of red. And so I thought I was going to have a really hard time with this, but fortunately I did not. So here are all of my reds, and I had a lot to choose from. The Stabilo red was fantastic. So it matches that one really well. And the Micron red was also another great match. It doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't look like it would match because it's two different reds, but when they actually write on the paper, which is another thing, you actually have to write on the paper to figure out which one is going to work well. And then I'm also going to pick the Coleto again. I keep going back to that. Let me see if I can find the Coleto. Here we go. The Coleto red also works really well. There are some other ones that are very close seconds, like the Sharpie. The Sharpie red is a good one. There's also the Papermate Ultrafine Flare. Let's see if I can pull that one out without taking. This is the one. So this is different from the regular flares. The Ultrafine Flares are actually 0.38. So that one was another really good match. Let's see, the Sharpie pen was another great match. And then the Staedtler. So, like I said, I was shocked that this many matched because I thought this one was going to be a really hard one. But these are the three that I would definitely recommend, and these are very, very close second on that one. Again, I'm probably just going to have to go with the Coleto on this one just because I love the way it writes. It's got a great pen clip on it, and they're easily accessible. But like I said, all of these, look on jetpens.com. It is going to become your best friend if you do not know about them already. And then let me show you my grays, which I did here way in the back. So as you can see, another highlighter there, which is the mild liner. This one was a little bit interesting to me. I thought that the darker grays were going to be my best bet, but they were not. It was kind of those middle grays. So as you can see, I've got some light grays here and some dark grays, which I thought the dark gray would be the best one, but it's not. It's actually the silvers and just the regular grays. So the Pilot Juice, which this is the silver and the metallic, And then also the Pilot Juice, they have just a gray, which is right here. And then last but not least, the Stabilo, which is this one right here. So this is the regular gray. They also have a light gray, but those are the 3 grays that I would definitely recommend. They're just great pens, write beautifully. You're never going to have any problems with this. I would say if I had to pick one of these pens, it is going to be, let me look really closely. I would probably pick the Pilot Juice Silver. I think that one matches the best. And I've been writing with this one in my gratitude journal, and it just, when you write with this, it just looks like you're writing with a pencil and you just don't know that it's a pen. But anyway, those are my recommendations. So I hope that's been helpful for you. This is actually going to be a first part in a series. I'm also going to do fountain pen inks, and I'm also going to do stamping inks as well. So stay tuned for that. But like I mentioned, I'm going to have, if you love that picture, that's on my Instagram already, and I will show you, and I'll write everything out for you for the exact pens and what the exact color name is called. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon.